Yeah, Masandan, over to you to share your chapters.
Sure, thank you, Abdul. So, a very good morning, everyone. So, we'll be continuing reading our with our book reading club, and the book we're reading is Escaping the Bell Trap: How Effective Product Management Create Real Values by Mellissa Perri. And we are moving towards the part 4 of the book, where we will be also covering chapter 15. So, very interestingly, the part 4 starts with this quote: the best solutions are linked to real problems that users want solved. So, very powerful statement in itself. And then it shares some concepts. So product managers use a process to identify which of these problems the team can solve to further the business and achieve the strategy. So as we all know, a lot of products are out there. When we are also building these solutions, a lot of things come to our mind. But if we also have a group with us who is building those solutions, it is very important for the product manager to first identify what are the skill sets of the team and what are those particular areas for which our team is suitable. So that is one thing the product managers need to keep in mind. And the product managers can rely on product kata to help them develop the right experimental mindset to fall in love with the problem rather than the solution. As we have talked earlier as well, we need to identify what the problem statement is, then try to fall in love, and then keep on iterating it, stepping into the customer's shoes. So we'll be looking more at what the product kata is in the coming chapters. So when this particular part starts, what happens is there is this company that is have in these discussions where they're trying to come up with some solutions, and after time it is visible, one could understand what is the kind of problem statement they're looking at. So there is this company known as Marketly. So the problem statement that they're trying to bring solutions about is what could possibly drive more revenue from individual users. So what this company do is they bring out some courses, and then they're trying to see how they can increase and drive more revenue from the individual users. And upon discussion, so this is a very kind of exercise. I think this particular example throws a lot of light into what these real values are. So upon discussions, the some of the people who work in the company, they come out with a solution that maybe we can acquire new users so that our revenue will increase. And then another solution that they come up with, maybe they can try and retain existing users. Maybe that will also increase the revenue. And then they can create new revenue streams for existing users, new functionalities, maybe provide new things so that the user is kind of keeps on increasing them, and that kind of iteration also works, and the user is there and the revenue stream increases in itself. And once they have the solutions, the product manager over there says, bingo, now let's try to find a problem and opportunities around the above points. Only because when they'll identify there is a problem, they'll be trying to build a solution around that. So what they do is they divide their whole group into two parts. One starts looking into the acquisition part of the side, and one on the retention. How can we acquire more? How can we acquire, and how can we retain our customers? So what the first group identifies is there's a low conversion rate from the moment a user comes up on the page, they sign up, and to the moment they pay it, there's a very low conversion rate. And even though the marketing is top notch, they have put the dollars, they have put all these coupons in place. Maybe when you join in, you get all these coupons. Still, they see that funnel is not up to the mark. So there's a lot of discussion how they can go about it. And one of the developer in the team, this is another example how important it is to encourage all the people, all the development side in the very early stages. So what happens is the developer says there is this app known as Quarelu, very simple app, which he can, kind of have it ready for the use of the end customer in about 10 to 15 minutes, plug and play kind of a thing. What the app does is that application Quarelu, it helps users give polls or have answer some questions when they try to exit or go back from our application. So very important role so that we can understand what the customer was facing. So it gives us an opportunity to step into the customer shoe to understand what the user was actually feeling when they decided not to use it further. So very exciting poll results come out that 55% of the users couldn't find classes in the new marketing method. So they were actually kind of looking for some new marketing methods that are out there, but the content that the particular company Marketly was providing was maybe not something that they actually wanted. The 25% of those customers wanted entry-level marketing courses. So maybe they just wanted the career to begin in this area. They weren't interested in very advanced kind of stuff. So they were only looking at very basic things. So they couldn't find it, so they didn't continue. So what they did is they did assessment at the beginning, but never reassess. So they also saw that maybe at the end they asked, how much are you well versed with these marketing topics, blah, 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 ABCD, whatever those topics are, but they were never reassessing. So the end user was also not getting that kind of confidence. So did I actually learn it? Are my skills actually, I can convert them to some freelancing work or whatever. So these were the issues. Hundreds of these results came, and they were kind of eye-opening for them. So, okay, these are the kind of problems that we're making. And the another group that was working on the retention funnel, they found out that 40% of the 40% of the user who come on their application, they only stay after 6 months. So 60% are straight away gone, and the 40% are staying there. And among those 40%, 90% ran out of interesting content. So only, for example, we have 140 stayed, and out of those 36 again went. So only 4 users were there who were left, who thought maybe, we can look at some content, but most of the users were out there because they didn't think the content was top notch. So after having these problems, they went again back on the whiteboard to discuss, what kind of solution they can bring about. And they kind of discussed this solution that they need more content. And then they kind of went into introspection. Do we have the right teachers? And if we do not have the right teachers who can make this, new and content that is needed in the market as of now, how do we attract that kind of teachers? So that these are some of the important discussion they kept on discussing. And then upon talking to the teachers, they further found out that teachers had trouble creating courses. So not everybody is technically versed. And then most teachers had only one course. They did not kind of create another after creating the first one. And then trying to find out, why that is. When you are on a platform, you're on a company, you are selling courses, why only one course per teacher? So they found out that teachers, 50% among those teachers, they wanted to create more courses, but it was very difficult for them. They said the platform is difficult, not sure what the student wants. So no mechanism between the teachers and student were there. So so after they, jotted down all the points, they knew what kind of problems the teachers were facing, the students were facing. So now what they wanted to do was they wanted to bring about some possible solutions upon discussion. So they came with these 2 initiatives. So in the first initiative, what they did was their plan was to increase the content, as a lot of students or the people on the portal, they didn't find the content very interesting. They just wanted to increase the number of marketing courses or the total courses on their portal. And they thought was maybe this will help us acquire more customer. And upon calculation, they were able to say that if we do this, we'll have a monthly profit of around $2.6 million. So that is the kind of difference that was making in their model. And they were looking at some options which will be, easier way to create courses rather than complicating the whole platform, easier way to make courses. Then they'll have some feedback for teachers on what the student wants. So as and when the student is using a portal, there will be an easy feedback mechanism loop, so that the turnaround time is also very low. Whenever they're creating new courses, they want to bridge that gap between the teachers and students so that they can help create the best possible solutions out there. And then outreach to new teachers so that they can also keep on onboarding new teachers who know the best things, who know the current topics. For example, as of now, a portal such would want some teachers who are creating courses related to AI, Chat GPT, OpenAI, whatever kind of thing, so that the students have the people who are onboarding on that application, they know we have the best content out there, the content that is needed in the market, that is very hot at the market right now as well. And the second initiative was they wanted to reassess skills of the students. So once they have learned it, once they have learned a topic, maybe keep on reassessing it from time to time so that you can show to the prospective employees as well. So something that happens in the colleges, when you learn something, you can show your CGPA at least, that this is my CGPA. So this shows that how much I've studied, I've worked hard, what all stuff I've done. So maybe in that way, they wanted to have like a kind of a test mechanism so that they can show their prospective employers. So this is where this person stands, and then this will increase their acquisition when the word will be around that this is how they bridge the gap between the prospective employer, and this is how they're reassessing and all. So maybe at the end of the day, it will increase their acquisition. And upon calculation, they found out that it will bring in a profit of about $1.5 million a month. So their plan was to go for continuous assessment, and then they'll also give a certification of completion upon completion, which they were previously not doing. So what we found out was usually we focus only on developing software uh, thinking what rather than building the right software out there. So that is where we get stuck in the build trap. So we focus more on the act of developing rather than developing the right thing. So this is the build trap, and we can get rid of it by applying problem solving in experimental techniques to find out what the area of focus should be. That is where the product kata comes into play. So beautiful strategy, as you can see on the screens, that is shown by Mellissa Perri. It is a 4-step process where we understand the direction. So there is the company vision and strategic intent. We also call it the overall product initiative, followed by we analyze the current state where our project stands, current state of intent, current state of the initiative or the product, where it stands. And then we set the goals, how we are going to take it further. That is, we have different goals. We choose what to do, what kind of steps we have. And then the next part is execution. That is a 4th step. Then we choose step of product process. So problem exploration, solution exploration, and solution optimization. So this is not a one-way thing. This is like works in iteration. So the product kata, I think if I'm not wrong, there could be multiple meanings, but one of the meaning is the Japanese martial art form. So that is what the kind of discipline a martial art brings. So that is the kind of discipline the product kata wants to bring into a product manager or in a whole group, so that they continue with this iteration. This is a not one-way street. We need to again and again keep on visiting this so that we can improve the overall end experience and build the right product for a user. So in the chapter 15, we see they're defining what the product kata is. It is the process by which we uncover the right solutions to build. It is systematic. It is a systematic tool that the product manager use to approach and building products from problem solving standpoint. And how it helps is the product kata helps product people form incredible impactful habits. So as we know, when you'll be following these steps, we'll be looking into the coming chapters as well, how this will help us form those habits, ask those questions, be in that loop of habit forming, so that when we have this kind of important habits, these hygiene factors in front of us, we'll be definitely building the right products. And since the lean startup has emerged, this experimentation has been a hot topic in many software companies, as we all know. And what happens is very important thing is discussed in this chapter. So there is this example the user is giving, that they had a founder friend who suggested them, when you're building a product, and for example, in this particular case, this Marketly case, they were building a product where they were coming out with different content or courses for people to consume. So what the founder friend suggested is, you don't need to sweat a lot, for example, on the checkout page or on the portal where you're paying, because that is not the most important part of your product. The most important part is to make the content, have the best courses out there, what the people want as of now, what's the hot topic in the market. Let's build the courses, let's make some courses on that by the best teachers. So that is the most important part for that particular company, rather than building the best checkout software, because companies like Amazon have put in thousands of hours over there. Maybe we can plug and play that kind of a thing, rather than putting all our efforts in the wrong direction. Let's try to copy some of that stuff and improve and plug and play according to our situation, rather than sweating it into the wrong direction. So very interestingly, in the product kata, we ask ourselves these following questions. For example, what is the goal? We begin with it. What is the goal? Where are we in relation to that goal? What is the biggest problem or obstacle standing in the way of reaching that goal? And what do I expect to happen when I do this, when I come up with these solutions? What do I expect to happen? And then what actually happened? What did we learn after the iteration is over? So these are the important questions that we keep on asking. This is a particular loop, habit forming questions that even we can inculcate in our journey as well. And if you put your product in whatever way you are working and you think of these questions, these are very, these questions bring about the solution, and you can see your product journey in front of you as well. So in that way, I would encourage that we have this habit formed in our teams as well, where we ask this question regularly: what is our goal? What are where are we in relation to that goal? What will we solve and what happened at the last when we did all this? And these questions take us through these problem exploration, solution exploration, and solution optimization phase. So this is again not a one-way street. We keep on doing that, and the steps we chose to take and the tools implement to do will change based on where we are. So for example, they used quarterly. In their case, maybe we can use hotjar mechanism where we can also look at what the user is kind of doing. And then maybe there's some interesting other software as well. For example, the way they conducted polls there, somewhere we can use Power BI as well. Some we can share graphs as well with the user so that they can also feel part of that whole loop, the customer feedback mechanism. So when the problem you're solving is core to your value proposition, take a step back and don't rush into the first solution. Use your unique context to set apart your competitors. That is, experiment with a few ideas before committing to one. And then coming back to again how the friend of the author suggested them, rather than sweating to those additional stuff, maybe rather why not put our whole attention to content creation rather than looking what the most attractive aesthetic checkout page would be. Although these things are important, we need to have a good UI, attractive UI, but we don't need to sweat a lot of what new functionalities in the checkout page should we give, because a lot of companies are flag bearers in that area. Maybe we can copy from them, take inspiration from them rather than sweating our whole energies in that space. So this was about the part 14 and part 4 in chapter 14. Over to you, Abdul. Maybe we can discuss around this later on, or if you want now as well.
Yes, I think we are discussing at the end all these things so that the other reader, other presenter should also get sufficient time, right?
Sure.
Great learning. So I have noted down a number of points, but if time permits, we will discuss. So I think over to Imtiaz for chapter 16 and 17. Great. Yes, we can see your screen, Imtiaz.
Okay.
I think,
yeah. So you're able to see my screen, looks like.
Yes, yes.
I like the title, so I was that kind of made like this is word that we always used to use in this our product development, and although we kind of knew, we still get into this build trap, even developing the products today also. It's I think the natural tendency of us to go in that path when we are developing something, and there are quite many jargons being used here. Jargons, I would say, not jargons. In the jargon is taken always in the wrong way. Lot of learnings are there in that. How do you go to the next? Okay. So kata process, I think Masnanand has covered many of the things now. I think almost the chapters, two chapters also you covered almost the findings, right? From the 16th chapter also. So the process, it's a process of building right product or right solution. So here is one thing. I'm trying to give it in my way, a little differently. This is a few sentences I picked up from the book. I'm not going into the detail what they were trying to do, but this is what one very interestingly somebody put it as a simplicity beyond complexity. That is what is more important. We keep on building features, and then at some point of time, you should keep throwing that out and create that simplistic version of the product. So you need to put certain boundaries. For example, Steve Jobs put a boundary that, okay, only one button can be used in the whole design. So that made the change. Otherwise, in 2001, I think HP has a much better tablet product with all kinds of possibilities, everything, USB, this, that, everything. That didn't go anywhere. So putting that boundary is very important. And in that constraint, you have to pack your features in such a way that the user doesn't get confused. The solution comes very clean. So this is a kind of bell curve where you are packing the features, and then after that Gaussian curve, 80% of the time, you end up creating a good product. So simplicity beyond complexity. This concept is what is very important. It is mentioned somewhere, if I remember, in the chapter. Okay, now coming to the phases, I think Masnanan covered many of them. Understanding the current situation, goals. I'm not going into detail because these are all logical things. We have to understand the current situation, where we are, what is the problems we are facing. Obviously, we are developing a product, means we definitely know the problems that we are facing. And then solution exploration, definitely will have multiple ways of solving the problem. And then the optimization. There is nothing, I didn't find anything non-logical here. Obviously, to analyze the data, you need to have you need to have right tools, analyze data. So there are many tools. For example, in case of uh, software product, you can use Mixpanel or maybe Amplitude or maybe Google Analytics, like that. But apart from that, the most important thing that these tools, how you are going to use, is you need to make certain assumptions. That assumptions you are going to check. So this is happening because of this. That anticipation or the assumption is the first step, and then you start using the tools, then only you'll get the results. This is very important point. I like this. Create product matrices, not productivity matrices. So for example, typically we try to satisfy our management, and we say that we shipped so many features, so many things we did. So we typically are focused towards the management, not towards the customer. So the product matrix is nicely explained. It's the heart, basically, heart of the product. So it is more from the customer centric point of view. Again, nothing new in this. The more the engagement that customer gives to the product, more the adoption, obviously there will be more retention. Is it that the customer is going to become happy using the product? That's what will define the success. So quite logical. And this is what one of the mistake that in our bigger organization we always do, where we focus more on the product matrices, that okay, these many bugs fixed, these many problems solved, these many things. So we count those numbers rather than these kind of little intangible numbers. This is very interesting. Problem exploration, I could write some points that were mentioned there. Anticipating how the product will be used. This anticipation, this is what I keep telling in our team also, is that most important thing is that you can wear that hat of the customer and then start anticipating how it will be used. You use it and you yourself will be able to analyze many of the issues actually. So this is very important thing. For example, in case of, I come from this hardware background too. So we used to review this, our schematics, 100 times. 100 times after reviewing that, you still find one or two issues in that. After that only the boards used to breathe. First time they used to run completely. So that process of anticipating and internally trying to understand, internally trying to solve the things, then going outside to the customer, that really helps. So anticipating is very, very important aspect. Now second step, this was really watching how it is getting used. So unless you see how the customer is using the product, for example, in case of Nokia, we used to employ companies who will do user research. So these guys used to go sit near that in case of India, they used to go near that Sabjiwala and then record the whole day how he is using the phone and all that. And they do analysis. And that's why the Nokia phones were being used so heavily in India that way. So really watching now, even today also in our product, when any feature developer point of view, he would have implemented the feature point of view, but simple functionality of filter, in our case, we had an issue that, okay, when I was watching the customer, how he is using, he is not selecting the filter. I can probably showcase one such example later. And then so many complicated X and Y's in that was making it so difficult. So that complexity, what you say, beyond this, simplicity beyond this complexity, because features were complicated. You have to select one part, another part, those things. So simplifying to the extent that what maximum he will use out of that. So making that simplified is very important. The most important functionality. Rest of the functionality can go hidden like that. This is another very, very important aspect. Tools are there, like amplitude is there, this is there, that is there. But in the initial stage of the product development, it is very, very important to see the customer directly, how he is using. That is the most important thing, which I think they have also highlighted in one case, where they are trying to find a solution. And then when they are, I think, when they're creating the content creation, watching, they say that, okay, that they really needed was something which will help the teachers to create the content easily, not I think maybe the adding the content on top of the video, content on top of the image, that those features were more important. It was more of a video editor kind of thing. So the product direction completely changes after that. This is very interesting statement. I think you also covered that. Love the problem, not the solution. Yeah. And we make all the time this mistake. We say that, okay, we keep on boasting that this is the solution kind of thing. But what I realize now, the problem is that your mind space should be thinking about the problem. Solution comes after that. So more mind space has to be given to the problem. Last, and this was very interesting, actually, I think this I covered just before it. So validating the problem. So most of the time you say that this is a problem. So questioning the assumption is very, very important. This is one of the, every scientific solution comes by questioning the assumption. First thing, you write the assumption. Okay, these are my assumptions. Then you question the assumption and then try to validate. Then only you can go to the next step. So very, very important aspect. Because of this, you will at least sort out that this is not a valid problem to go behind. So there is one very, very interesting example that was in this case, was that the whole product they were focusing on, that teachers should be able to create content, and they ended up creating kind of, I think, I don't know the further thing, but the more solution was pointing towards the ease of making the content was, I think teacher also need to have some easy way to put the things together. So that was one of the conclusion they came to. This is again a repeat, I feel. Solution exploration, basically, okay, in our case, we had some digital album related product. So customer was supposed to upload the videos or upload the images. Very difficult to do that, thousands of images and all that. So what we did was that we gave this concierge services. Okay, we will do it on your behalf. So in that, there is a lot of learning, so that you don't burn out too many customers in that. So giving a concierge services for particular part, okay, we'll take care of this portion. Now you do your portion and then give it to us. So that way the product, we understand really how the customer is going to use the product or how we can make the things easy. Very, very important aspect. This was again the repeat, the expect surprises, because what problem you assume may not be the real problem. The problem identification itself might be wrong. So that was through the questioning the assumption. When I see all these things, these are the mechanical ways of solving the thing, which is typically happens in this auto industries and all that, where they have certain processes and then everybody starts working in that particular processes. But where we work in the innovative product, there are certain other things that matter a lot. That's what my experience. So this I'm now deviating from a build trap. I'm giving my inputs now. Okay. First and the foremost is the goal and the motivation. So team need to have a goal, that this is what, and that should be the common goal, what we call it as a vision or mission or whatever it is. Or in particular product case, you are saying that, okay, you have to solve this. This is the problem definition known to the whole team and the goal that we want to achieve after this. Okay. So for that, you need a motivation. Now to solve, you need to have a motivated to solve the problem. The motivation can be either monetary or revenue. It could be sales revenue or it could be the recognition. Second is the mental satisfaction, which is the achievement basically. And typically it is said that the monetary portion will attract people who are looking like who are not solving the mental related issues or the mental level problems, or those who don't get satisfied uh, by money. So those people are the typically the IT kind of people. It's not just the salary part which matters for them. It is a kind of achievement. They should get that achievement feeling. That mental satisfaction drives them to deliver the right solutions. So this is the most important aspect. Second thing I was thinking, if we have to achieve what we were trying to put in the process, for that one basic need is required. If we can do that one, then rest of the thing becomes very easy. And that's nothing but skills of observation. There is one nice story which I have shared the link here. It's about the observation. And this is little difficult to develop skill. There is one very powerful story about one scientist, I think Louis Agassiz. This link I have given. This guy was the famous biologist, Louis. And people used to say that, okay, I want to go and study the biology from this guy. So one famous student went to him and then he said that I want to learn biology from you. So what he did was the day one in the class, he brought one fish specimen and then kept it on the table and then said that go and observe it. It's just a fish in the glass. So these students said, and then he went off actually. He didn't come back for the next 3 days actually. So these guys said, okay, what is this? Just observations. They wrote something and then kept it ready. After 3 days, this guy comes back, Louis Agassiz. And then he throws away that, okay, this is not the right observation. I'll come after 1 more week. And then you observe and tell. So after contemplating on this one, they realized that there are so many aspects of the fish which they were missing. When there is a sunlight, it behaves differently. When there is a like it has different kind of movements at different places. He has a different kind of fins. There is a different kind of color coding. There is a different kind of eye movement. So many things they discovered and they wrote that report. After that 1 week he came and then he saw this report. He said that, okay, now you are trying to understand the observation. So this is the key aspect. If we try to understand or get into more into observation is the skill which will help you put any kind of framework to work. So this basic part is very, very important. If we have to teach anything out of this and then say that, okay, now you follow this framework, without this skill, it is very difficult. And this is a painstaking skill. This story is really nicely explained. You can take a look at it. I'll share it separately, that link. So that's all I could write about.
Great. So any question to Imtiaz or Masnandan? Yeah, so any question to Imtiaz or Masnandan?
I have a small question. So,
Yes.
like when we're talking about anticipation, Imtiaz, sometimes even these tools could not come handy in that practice for whatever reasons. So how, because anytime you're building that, you have that anticipation when you're trying to ship it. So how do you help that? Any suggestions?
Can you rephrase that once?
Like the anticipation, how the customer will react to that. For example, some part of the solution, maybe you can have those polls for whatever reason, GA360, Google Analytics, whatever stuff. But for some functionalities, you never know how the user would react. Maybe we won't be able to capture using some of these tools for whatever reason. And that anticipation here, is it actually helping or not? Even if you're able to capture that, we might not able to take a decision on it after we had substantial data. So how to overcome that kind of anticipation that keeps on building one over other?
Okay, I'll give you one recent example only. We were trying to build a product which will be used by the retail space and still in the building process only. And observation was that they are just signing up, OTP given, and they are not uploading any images. Okay. Now we have to come and sit and then analyze that. So one way is that amplitude you put and all that you won't get. You will just know that, okay, this is one problem. Okay, now when you start thinking and thinking and thinking about that problem, you can write what all possibilities are there, why is not uploading. One of the possibilities that we derived and said that, okay, is that this guy doesn't have the relevant image at that point of time. So he will come back and do that again. So this can only come from your thinking about it. It won't come from the tool or anywhere. So that's where the observation or thinking process is very, very important. I don't know. I heard this story somewhere on the net itself, maybe fictitious, but it's about the discovery of the needle. So it's such a powerful tool discovered by the humankind that this guy who was obsessed about finding out a solution on the that's where the motivation and goal. He was trying to stitch two pieces together, and then he was trying to find out what way he could navigate. Now we know it's the needle is there very easily. We can run through that needle. That time he didn't have the solution, so he was trying all kinds of things, maybe putting a hole and then putting that string and all those kind of things. One fine day, he was so immersed into that one, and then while traveling or somewhere, he one nail kind of object got stuck on his inside this one leg. So he was trying to get rid of that. He was trying to remove that. So while that was paining, and he in the night time he could fall asleep for some time. So that time he got the inspiration somehow, and he said that you have to make a little bit of hole in that and put some string in that. He could do that and remove the wooden piece or whatever it is. But that is what made him think that this is my solution for that sewing machine. And from there, so what I'm saying is that work or the intensity that you put on that problem, then you kind of anticipate and then you kind of solve. And this happens particularly in the hardware world, because we came from that world where we used to develop huge boards, 26-layer boards, millions of wires. Can you imagine? And day one, it has to work. So the kind of what is the anticipation and then correction that you have to go through, no? It's a huge. And that's what I feel is very, very important.
Thank you, Imtiaz. Makes sense.
Great. Anyone has any question or any assumptions which we want to get confirmed in today's discussion? Because we know a number of things, but we need confirmation and affirmation on those learnings.
I like the concept of that product kata, the Japanese. Could you elaborate a little bit, Masandan, on that? Because you covered one slide. So, yeah.
No, who is going to explain?
Anyone? Happy to hear a little bit more about what was mentioned around it. And I'll give you background is that there is a new certification in this field of merit certifications. There is a certification now coming around product kata as well.
Okay.
So yeah, I would like to learn more.
Mastanand, I think you covered the first part of it, that with the diagram, right? So it's basically iterative process right from the goal, and I think problem identification, then solution identification, and then going back and then iterating through that solution. I think I had written that. One sec. You want to take that, Mastanand?
Yeah, even I'm trying to just copy and paste that picture so that I can everyone can
maybe
yeah, sure. So what the process does it, the first part of the whole diagram that if you'll see again is which entails the strategy creation and development part. So there are these 3 steps that are involved in the first part, that is understanding the direction. So understanding where you want to go, what are you building. So having that thing cleared. So what it entails is you have a company vision and strategic intent. So you know what we're trying to build. this is our intent, what we want to achieve, what our strategic goals are. So that will come under the understanding the direction, and this will be under the product initiative, then which will be followed by analyzing the current state, where we are at this moment of this product building, while we are building these solutions, where we are at that moment, so that we should be clear with the current state of our intent. So we don't need to make those assumptions. We should know where we are at that moment, and then only when we'll know where we are, we can set the goals. So our product initiative will start at the moment that, okay, here we are, and this is what we need to do to reach XYZ numbers or whatever our goal was. And then maybe when we'll know those problems, we'll come up with different solutions as well, different options as well. Maybe we can look at some of them, and then at the end we can go for whichever initiative suits our problem statement. That is the final step, that is known as the execution step. And where it says choose step of the product process, this is where we'll start building and shipping out, because that is kind of the best solution for us, which will further entail these following things: problem exploration, solution exploration, and solution optimization. We'll have those solutions, but which is the best, which is time saving for us, best for the customer as well, and then we build it. And then again this loop starts, so that never rests. This is kind of an iterating process. We keep on, like those important 5 whys. A lot of these times we read about these 5 why question you keep on asking. Again, in a hygienic way, this should become our hygiene practice as well. Anything to add, Imtiaz?
Yeah, it's basically the iterative process where you say that this is the current situation. Basically, you say that problem. Okay, the problem could be that, okay, I'm not getting enough sales number now, let's say. Now you can say that, okay, what is the current situation? Where are we? So basically, it is kind of a fact-based, we say, no? And then put the facts together. And for that, whatever you need data, either you get it through the tools, or I think it has to be from the actual data only. Based on the actual data, write the proper current situation and then put the goal. Once you have put that, you have to explore this problem in more detail. Like that problem might have the sub problems, multiple things, and then you are going into the solution exploration. So it's more of problems identified, and then which problems top 3 probably you want to solve. Again, probably you can use 80-20 rule. That is not being talked here, but I believe that could be the one of the way that, okay, you identify the problems and then find out which is the most critical out of that first 1, 2, 3, and then explore the solution. Obviously, again, the solutions could be multiple. Again, a way of finding out which could be the most appropriate at that point of time, and then go for optimization of the solution. So this has to be repeated. And in this thing, the most important aspect which I learned from the book, or rather in our experience also, is very interesting that, okay, sometimes the problem definition itself is wrong. I think she has given a couple of examples nicely. One is that the problem, I'm not getting here, the problem definition, whatever we assumed, that was not the problem at all. Like, I think.
Yeah, I think it was mentioned
There
in one
was
of the
mentioned,
slide
right? One of the
also.
very
Yeah. In the slide you did mention that.
Yeah.
In the iteration, you may realize later that
Yeah,
the
this is
problem
not the problem to be solved.
identification itself was wrong.
Yeah. There was one example which I should have brought out actually. Oh, okay. What was it? Users don't want the app. That is the title. So basically they decided, okay, user need this kind of app, that kind of app, and this and that. And we face this day in and day out. For example, we worked with one mechanical, this one company, and they wanted to improve the quality. So we kind of giving them the quality related, Wi-Fi related solution. So they are into CNC machine actually. So they wanted to improve the process. They learned the Ford process, and then they said, okay, we'll implement this kind of a process. But the thing is that if we don't apply what you say, just the bookish thing, if we apply, we end up with a very bad solution. For example, in case of we had our field service management software, IT team comes and then says that, okay, I want to know the service technician went from this place to that place in this time and all that. That is not going to give you any information. It's just the technology that I have used, that I know the place where the technician is. And that's what the feature is getting sold in the market. Sadly, that happens because the understanding is that way. So the involvement of the management and understanding the right goals, that itself is we have issue. The wrong problem is what they're trying to address the wrong problem. Why do you need to know that how much time the technician is going to reach there? Nothing. It's not going to give maybe that 0.1% value. How he solved and what were the tricky parts of that data capture is very important. So that educating, particularly we found it very difficult in our Indian environment. So where we are cost conscious and let's say we say that, oh, that software is at 200 rupees, this software is at 100 rupees. And they get into that 100 rupees software, which will keep on doing these kind of things.
True.
So that
I was just about to ask, same thing, like as a book, we just saw all the steps, but on the ground, in reality, for a product team, or the development team who are building the solution, how much time do they get really for problem exploration?
Yep.
On understanding the problem. Maybe Amit.
So very nice, Dipti.
I think just I will interrupt here. The example I was trying to give was that the process also is a big overhead. This is the processes that we are trying to come to. Okay. Now this process, if just implemented without what you say the mind in that, no.
True.
It is like too much of overhead, and then it doesn't give any result at all. That's what we have seen.
Right.
We had this first-hand experience with one of the topmost CNC company in India, who have service revenue of probably 200 plus crore, only service revenue. And they were trying to implement this khichdi process. One place they are they are doing YY analysis, they are doing this, that, and we used to see their desktop full of Excel sheet, and end of the day, nothing coming out.
True.
And they, on top of that, they're now using that, okay, Microsoft Dynamics, we're putting these, that, nothing. The data itself is wrong because they are giving such simple thing. For example, date of the capture of the photo, they are giving entry. So they're losing that information also, that, okay, they are giving kind of entries where like somebody can tamper the data.
Then data can be frozen.
Yeah. So such things are there. Yeah, I think
my take is a little different on this.
Yeah.
I come from, so we sold a security solution and called user entity behavioral analytics. Was sold. So this was a new solution. The market was not established. The customers didn't knew that they had a problem because nobody thought that their employees will cheat. So what we did was we had a big data lake and through which we could augment customers' information from about 200 plus points, and we had about 50 plus models, which would then tell whether a employee is at risk or is your data is at risk. Kind of a zero-day security solution. Sorry, not a zero-day security solution, but predictive security solutions. And so we had to tell then the customer through case studies on what could be the problem and how they were solved, or again create problems or tell them that, hey, these are problems. Sometimes customers are also in awe of their processes and they think that they do not have any problems or their processes are really working good. Plus that whole old American age of don't fix if it ain't broken.
Yeah, if it is broken.
So that also impedes growth. So you have to, if you are selling a product and if you are building a product, then you have to educate customers that how this can be better solved. The same thing happened now with so currently I'm in an e-commerce company selling subscription of chemicals. So our customers again here don't know that getting subscription of their more important chemicals could help save them some money and also help save them storage costs. So we have to then ask and educate our customers that, hey, is this your problem? Is this your problem? Now that's from the exterior side. And from interior side, while we are building our product, we ask ourselves that, is it a big enough problem? Like, is subscription service a big enough problem for us, for our customers? Those are some things. In my role, currently, yes, I have to reach out to customers almost on a daily basis, and or get their input and feedback. I do use Qualru, or which is a Qualtrics. I had used it in past, and we do definitely use Hotjar. So whenever we launch a new feature, we evaluate using Hotjar whether the feature is being used or feature is not being used much. I did use Mixpanel, and these are some really effective tools, because I was a little naive before. When to get customer feedback, I would call up customers. And what would happen is, most of the time, these customers would not respond. You call up 10, one person responds, and just doesn't want to talk to you. So then how do you get the feedback? Because your customers are not responding, your customers are not using your product. Then you use surveys, because maybe that is a less intrusive way. Then we used Hotjar to know whether our team members were or our customers were going in that particular part where we wanted them to. And also we then identified. So going back again in a Gurukul story, we had created an amazing dashboard with most of this scores which we were sharing, and we had rolled it out to 4,500 users within PayPal. Now we found that, and I had spent about 2 months creating that particular dashboard. So after it was rolled out, we thought that everyone has been asking us for this, and now it is this. So now the dashboard is here, so everyone should be there on dashboard. We realized that very few people even logged into our system. Forget about looking at dashboard, and only once or twice in a week they would do it. We then pivoted, saying that, okay, since the customer is not coming to us, we would go to the customer, and we then copied the dashboard in an email and shared it with them, and that had better open rates. So customer wanted kind of an email. However, we built them a dashboard. That was the learning there. So you have, probably you have to kind of probe customer more to understand what their problems are. Like that Newton's second law of motion: bodies at rest continue to stay at rest. So people feel that they are good where they are.
What is the application? I haven't used this Qualru. What is that? Can you share the link?
Qualru or Qualtrics is a survey.
Okay. What is the link for that? Qualtrics.
Yes, Qualtrics. Now they've become bigger and they do a lot of these things. But at some, the experience management is what they call. Yeah, so experience management has been.
Is this?
Yes.
Okay.
Like companies like BMC and these other Qualtrics, they work in this whole managing the customer's experience right from the point they know about your product to the point they buy our service. But initially it was an online service software. And there before, because this was still before or pre-Chat GPT, so they would give pre-built question if you told them about your business.
Okay.
So this was really good because sometimes you have that writer's block. What is the right question to ask? And also, that where they were helpful, and then they would also have their own psychometric team who would help you create the right questions.
Okay.
So yeah, it was pretty good.
Great. So actually, Aditya asked the question from where this discussion started, and the upcoming and the question was, are the team really getting the time to do the this kind of exploration of the problem? And right now, I'm very much happy that okay, we are discussing on the problem, not on the solution. That is very in love with the problem, not the solution. So that is a very lovely statement. And whenever I say this statement, I always say, make sure you are not on the speaker, otherwise it will be a problem at your home. Okay, love the problem, not the solution. So taking that part where Amit also described that, okay, there are certain tools, okay, where he created the dashboard, but the customers even didn't log in to that one. Okay, so that is, I think, where he's trying to do the discovery. And the upcoming workshop which Amit has arranged, it is again to that theme only. Okay, discovering means from the product perspective, identifying the problem. Discovering means from the product perspective, it is identifying the problem. Then once we identify the problem, then the multiple solutions might be there. Okay, so my view on whatever the question you asked, how much time the teams are getting time to do the exploration. I think that is the really crux where we are missing. We are putting huge time on the solution part, and we are tracking that one. And as Imtiaz told in his presentation, we are not creating the product matrix, but we are creating the productivity
matrix. Yeah, true.
We are giving huge emphasis because for the business, for they have the customer matrix or the product matrix, but for the IT team, it is a productivity matrix. Both are different metrics. There is a huge gap.
Correct.
There is a huge gap. And this is what we are telling that, okay, the product people create the vertical slicing. What does it mean is that, okay, the IT team should not consider the product team or the customer as the external customer. They should consider that, okay, we are part of that one. We are part of that one.
Yeah, that handshaking is not so common, right? Handshaking
is not at all common. Their metrics are different, and I being in IT, my metrics are different. And when my matrices are different, I will be judged on the how many number of features I have been developed. That means I'm becoming a feature factory team.
Correct.
I'm becoming a feature factory team. And if those features are not being utilized, then that means we are really becoming an mechanical company where the parts are getting shipped out. Like in today's world, the features are getting shipped out. And the more features are getting shipped out, yes, it is more appraisals for me, for the individual as well.
Correct.
But if those features are not being utilized, then even though I got a good appraisal, tomorrow after a couple of years, the company will go down. Because whatever I shipped, so those are the dumb features which are not useful for the customer. And here, where the overall the mind shift is happening, if we see the leading companies, Microsoft, Google, and all those things, so they are putting a decent time, decent energy on identifying the right features, and that is what Masandan told. Okay, about identifying the right feature. That is we call as the discovery part. So discovery is missing, no doubt. And for this one, there is one good book which I have. Okay, and this book is telling that, okay, how to complete the discovery within 5 days, and who all should get involved over there. This is a very nice book which is written by Jack Knapp. Okay, this book is telling how we can solve the problems, and that is the discovery. How we can do the discovery within 5 days, just before the actual. We are putting huge efforts for the build, and this is what author is also speaking, that escaping out of that trap, escaping from the build trap. Okay, this is what my view. Dipti, whatever you told that, okay, how much time the teams are getting for the exploration part.
Yeah. We all know sailing in the same boat, but just wanted to understand how it is happening in other.
And I think the 19th workshop, that is going to be very important one, because that is the discovery part.
Yeah, I mean, do share the link. Maybe that
I
would be helpful.
will just do that right away.
Sure. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Great.
Thank you.
So, any question, dear friends, before I jump to the next topic about the next week's chapters?
No.
Whatever the learning what we have. If there are no questions, then I will stop recording and we'll see who is going to present next time.
Sure.
That's fine.
I would like to say thank you. I was not committed to this, and I think I should have been more committed, but just couldn't do it. But thanks for having me here, and I will be here more often now. I kind of really love the conversation today. So yeah, this is a very good start to Sunday, and yeah, now I kind of also feel what I was missing in the last few weeks when I was not here. I'm sorry, I'm still in very early phase, and I'll be honest that I am not able to commit to presenting very soon, if that is okay.
That's perfectly fine.
We all are sailing in the same boat, Amit, and we try just, so that's fine. I think.
Thank you.
More hands will be more productive, I'm sure, and Abdul will agree to it, right?
Yes, it is sure. Your presence is also sufficient that, okay, I try to read, not a problem, but at least we will be,
I can tell you, I don't get a lot of these conversations, so yeah.
Got the link, Amit. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.
Yeah, Amit, you are telling something. Please go ahead.
No, I don't get time to usually have such kind of conversations. This was really good conversation to start Sunday, and